Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fills this moment shared together. The light of peace it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love it shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Good morning and welcome to Live Oak Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Reverend Joanna. So glad that you could be here on the second Sunday of Advent. If this is your first time with us, we are so glad that you could join us, and we invite you after the service to go to liveoakuu.org, and you're going to find several things on our homepage. There's a way that you can get in touch with us if you'd like some more information about this congregation. Also, you can sign up for our weekly email newsletter, and that'll kind of let you know all the things that we have going on during the week, and maybe there'll be something that you'd like to join us for. As is tradition of Unitarian Universalist churches, we light a chalice at the beginning of our worship service. And so ever since we have been online together, we all kind of connect through doing that together. So if you have a candle or a chalice near you, if you could draw it toward you, we all light our chalices at the same time. And now come and let us worship together. Traditionally, the Advent wreath is used to mark the Sundays until Christmas with gradually increasing light. Each week, a new flame is lit to represent light banishing darkness. This year, however, we're doing something different. Darkness is as important as light. The cold dark of winter is as important to life as the bright warmth of summer. Black is beautiful. So this year we're doing a reverse Advent wreath. We begin with all the lights, and each week we'll extinguish another flame until gradually we enter into the full darkness. Today, our candle is rose to represent joy. We honor the beauty of those things we can only find in the nighttime: the fireflies, the owls, the crickets, the stars. We give thanks for the beauty and joy to be found only in the dark. May we be blessed by the gift of darkness's joy.
O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive
Good morning. My name is Carrie Krause. I'm the Director of Lifespan Faith Development at Live Oak. And as you saw earlier, we're doing Advent a little differently this year. We're putting out candles instead of lighting them. However, the meaning behind Advent remains the same. Advent is a season of waiting and preparation. And in Christianity, it's the season of waiting and preparation for both the birth of the baby Jesus and for his second coming. I remember when I was a little girl, Christmas was always so exciting. And not just because of the presents. I mean, that was really fun. But I also loved Christmas Eve, the service, going to a Christmas Eve service where the church was filled with candlelight and beautiful music. And because my parents were both professional singers, we often went to 2 services on Christmas Eve. And between services, it was our tradition to have a family buffet. And always on the table, there was smoked turkey and ham and a wonderful hot fruit compote that my mom used to make. Even talking about it brings back the memories of those beautiful times together and the flavors that we shared each Christmas Eve. As a child, the one thing that I was never excited about was the drive from Abilene, Texas to Uvalde, or sometimes all the way to the valley to McAllen to be with grandparents and other relatives. I can remember sitting in the back seat of the car with my sister, and we probably took turns asking, "Are we there yet? And why is it so far to get there?" Parents with young children, I know you understand what I'm talking about. My children ask the same questions, although we never lived close enough to family to travel there for the holidays. Even with games like find the alphabet and the license plate and count the number of cows on the road, the journey would seem never ending. After all, the fun didn't start until you got there, right? Well, actually, we had one family tradition that was fun on the drive, and that was we always stopped in Junction at the Dairy Queen to get ice cream. Not only was it fun to get the ice cream, but it also meant we were getting really close to Uvalde and that we were almost done being in the car. And then we'd get there, and Christmas would come, and in a flash of ribbons and bows and wrapping paper and turkey and cranberry sauce, it would be over. And we'd start on the journey home, carrying with us gifts from relatives and photos of the family together, aunts, uncles, cousins, whoever was there that year. And Christmas would come, and in a flash it would be over, year after year. And here's something I notice as I remember these many Christmases past. As a child, it seemed impossible to wait. It seemed like the day would never come. But that's not what sticks with me now. What sticks with me now are all of those many days of preparation leading up to Christmas. Baking pies with my grandmother and my mother, and then my own children, and now my grandson. Decorating the house and the tree. Practicing the music I would play for Christmas Eve service. Playing games that we didn't usually play just because people had time off. Going deer hunting with my dad. The first day that we would put on Christmas music in our house and play it. Usually that was the day that we decorated the tree. Even putting the garden to bed felt like preparation for Christmas. All of the ordinary things that my family did, the little things that led up to that day, those are what I remember now. Those are what led up to a joyful Christmas year after year.
Watchmen tell us of the night, what the signs of promise are. Traveler o'er yon mountains height, see that glory beaming star. Watchman doth its beauteous ray, aught of joy or hope foretell. Traveler, yes, it brings the day, promised day of Israel. Watchmen tell us of the night, higher yet that star ascends. Traveler, blessedness and light, peace and truth its course portends. Watchmen will its beams alone gild the spot that gave them birth. Traveler, ages are its home, see it burst o'er all the earth. Watchmen tell us of the night, for the morning seems to dawn. Traveler, darkness takes its flight, doubt and terror are withdrawn. Watchman, let thy wandering cease, hie thee to thy quiet home. Traveler, lo, the Prince of Peace, lo, the Son of God is come.
Prepare, A Blessing for Advent by Jan Richardson. Strange how one word will so hollow you out, but this word has been in the wilderness for months, years. This word is what remained after everything else was worn away by sand and stone. It is what withstood the glaring of sun by day, the weeping loneliness of the moon at night. Now it comes to you, racing out of the wild, eyes blazing and waving its arms, its voice ragged with desert but piercing and loud as it speaks itself again and again. Prepare, prepare. It may feel like the word is leveling you, emptying you, as it asks you to give up what you have known. It is impolite and hardly tame, but when it falls upon your lips, you will wonder at the sweetness, like honey that finds its way into the hunger you had not known was there. What are you waiting for? I imagine right now, quite a lot. We're waiting for the inauguration. We're waiting for a new administration. We're waiting for the COVID vaccine. Have there ever been so many scientists that had so many people, even agnostics, praying for their wisdom and praying for their skill? And all we can do is wait. Before COVID, I think, to a certain extent, we've kind of gotten out of the practice of having to wait. We could have so many things just so, if not instantly, so quickly, order something and get it a day later. A new song comes out. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play this song. I realize I'm kind of going into, in my day we had to walk up hills through the snow both ways, but surely there are other people who remember when you would order something from a catalog and the standard thing that it would say would be 6 to 8 weeks until delivery. Before COVID, we had a lot of privileges of getting things really quickly. And I, for one, was glad. But some things have changed since then. And so now, whether we want it or not, boy, do we have an opportunity to practice the spiritual skill of waiting. We are now in the season of Advent, a season dedicated to waiting and making preparations. For those of us who celebrate Christmas or Yule, or my Jewish friends tell me, even to a certain extent, Hanukkah, this thing of preparation is something we're really used to. In fact, often once you become a grown-up, it feels like like we don't really have the time for waiting, and it's more all about the preparation. And are we going to have all the ingredients for the meal and all of the presents and everything done? Will that all get done in time? For devout Christians, preparation for Christmas means something a little different. It's about spiritual preparation, the idea that you are using this time to prepare for the rebirth of their Savior. I imagine that quite a bit of the traditions for this came because of watching the pagans. Pagans, ancient and current, this is also part of their season as they prepare for the time of the winter solstice. And note that the days are growing shorter and shorter every day. And so they make the preparation for the sun, S-U-N, to be born, at which point the days will begin lengthening slowly, and the hope of spring will return. To wait for anything with a level of inner peace and patience, that's a spiritual skill. And as with all skills, the more we practice, the more we get better at it. This year provides an opportunity, whether we want it or not, to practice waiting. And I think that will help us, not just for today, but even in the future. They say that with age comes wisdom. I'm not sure that it is automatic. They also say there's no fool like an old fool. But I do believe that there is a correlation about wisdom and age, simply because the more experiences we have and the more we try to do our best in the moment and then we learn from those experiences moving forward, the more wisdom we have available to us. To work right now on mastering some practices and some skills around waiting is something that will probably help all of us in the future. There will come a time when we have to wait for something. It could be something we're worried about, or it could be something wonderful. And we'll be able to look back and say, okay, I remember that one time when I really had to be patient and really had to wait. What did I learn about being in the moment and having some peace with that waiting? This December is going to be really different, right? There's a lot of things that we won't be able to do, a lot of things that we won't have to do, and there could be some overlap between the two of those. No office Christmas parties or concerts or special programs. No being in the hustle bustle of being at the mall. So given all of that, given all of the things that we won't be doing this year and how different this will be in so many ways, what if you gave yourself permission to have an Advent that included spiritual preparation? Your spiritual preparation may not be specifically about Christmas, but it might be about a rebirth of hope. I think that for many of us, the last 4 years, and especially this last year, we've allowed hope and joyful anticipation to just kind of fall by the wayside. Joyful anticipation is something very different than apprehension, right? The feeling of waking up every morning and feeling that you need to check your phone to see what happened in the last 8 hours. That's not joyful anticipation. The last 4 years, there's been a lot of disappointment. Disappointment at seeing what our country really was. Disappointment at not being better than we are. Disappointment in our leaders for not doing their jobs. With disappointment, it's not uncommon for any of us to want to, at a certain point, protect ourselves from just these repeated waves of disappointment. And so perhaps even subconsciously, we put up walls of concrete that are made out of bitterness and cynicism. And on some level, we are telling ourselves that if we just don't hope, then we just won't get disappointed. But we need hope. Hope is what fills creativity. Hope is what fills us with energy. Hope is what enables us to both be able to dream of something better and be able to create strategies to make those dreams happen. And everything can have sort of a flip side. I know that for so many of us, over the past 4 years, and especially the last year, we have used the phrase, "I can't believe this," so many times. Just like that darned word, unprecedented. We've just seen things that we could not imagine could happen. But here's the flip side of that. Let's just consider this idea that maybe if all of these negative, unbelievable things could happen, maybe some of the really good things that we've dreamed about before, but we just didn't think it would be possible in this world. Well, heck, if all those bad things can happen, then why can't we have some of those unbelievable good things happen too? Look, I'm not trying to blow sunshine at you, but when you think about the potentials that we have right now for people to change their minds. We know that many people before all of this had a distrust of science. It was hard to get them to understand things like climate change. But there is the potential that now that they have seen science over and over again this past year be proven correct about coronavirus, if we then get a vaccine that can protect us from it, that can protect us from dying, there could be a whole resurgence in interest and belief and faith in a scientific process. Dramatic shifts come whenever there has been a dramatic upheaval in society. Maybe it's okay for us to begin preparing ourselves for a rebirth of hope. What might a period of Advent, of joyful anticipation and spiritual preparation, what might that look like in your life? Maybe you don't have an answer right away. When I started thinking about this, I didn't. I had to really sit and close my eyes and just sort of think about, imagine if I were able to design a period of Advent, a period of renewal and spiritual preparation for me, what would it look like? It will be different, I think, for every person. The question is, what feeds your soul? It's not just about rest, although I think rest is very important and should be part of everyone's Advent. I know that many of you are just plumb exhausted right now, and rest is important. But what feeds your soul is something more. It's what gives you energy and creativity and the ability to have joy, the ability to feel enthusiasm again. If you live in a household with other people, maybe this can be a conversation that you all have together, where each person is asked to sort of do the work ahead of time of really thinking through what feeds their soul. And then you have a discussion and you say, okay, are there things that we can do this month? Are there inessential things that we can let go of so that we can have more margin? And then with that margin, can we each of us use that time for what is going to spiritually feed us? Maybe for you, it's doing a craft. Maybe for someone else, it's getting lost in a book. Maybe it's just staring at the candles or at the Christmas tree and listening to music. When you've identified it, can you make it a priority? Maybe even put it on a calendar, like, 1 hour a day, feed my soul. Maybe there are some important but inessential things that you can put off until the new year. Advent is a time for waiting, which sort of implies a level of slowing down and not trying to fill every single minute. Let us embrace the darkness of wintertime. Let's perhaps even embrace the limitations that are being put on us this year. Slow down, sit down, rest, be centered, fill yourself up with beauty and music and what brings you joy. Prepare yourself for a rebirth of hope and feed your soul with restoration and renewal. So, what are you waiting for? thank you so much for joining us this morning. Even though we are only connected online, it really makes a difference when we all come together and perhaps engage in the chat, just to know that we are all having the same experience at the same time. It just does something for us. May the blessings of a slower, peaceful Advent be with you this week. And I leave you with these words by my colleague, the Reverend Amy Zucker Morgenstern. Blessed is the dark in which our dreams stir and are revealed. Blessed is the dark of earth where seeds come to life. Blessed are the depths of the ocean where no light shimmers. It is the womb of all earthly life. Blessed is the light into which we awake, the light that sparkles on the waters, that calls the tree forth from the seed and calls the shadow forth from the tree. May you be blessed by the light. May you be blessed by the darkness.
Soon the day will arise when we will be together, and no longer will we live in fear. And the children will smile without wondering whether on that day thunder clouds will appear. Wait and see what a world there can be if we share, if we care, you and me. Wait and see